Platformers are a dime a dozen on the Wii U eShop. That's not necessarily a bad thing though, because some of the best eShop games are indeed just that. Platformers, and they come in a variety of shapes and sizes, differentiating themselves from one another so they're not all cookie cutters of the same game. We've got the Metroidvania platformer Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition, which is one of my personal favorites, Adventures of Pip with its character-changing gameplay, the tough as nails precision platforming of 1001 Spikes, and of course there's Shovel Knight. You can't mention eShop platformers without bringing up the good old Blue Burrower. These eShop gems are all good and dandy, but indie studio 13AM Games is bringing their own twist to the league of eShop platformers with the bright and colorful Runbow. Wait, Runbow? What is it called? Hey Mom, what is it called? Runbow. It's called Runbow. With Runbow, color is the name of the game. Well, not literally, but this is what makes Runbow different from all other platformers on the eShop. The main objective is simple. Run and jump your way through obstacles to reach the trophy at the end of a stage. The uniqueness and challenge of Runbow comes to a head when you factor in the color-changing background. Why is that a big deal? Well, platforms will come in a variety of colors, and if the background shifts to the same color as one of those platforms, that ledge keeping you from falling into the abyss will disappear. Bye-bye! Thus, the game will keep you constantly on the tips of your toes and making split-second jumps as you try to memorize color patterns and watch out for the quick cues giving you a heads up on the color shifts. While Runbow can definitely be enjoyed as a single-player experience, it's mostly being promoted as a multiplayer party game, and that's very true for what this game is bringing to the table. Interestingly enough, it's the only Wii U game that supports up to 9 players in local multiplayer. Yes, you can seriously have you and 8 other friends play on one Wii U system. Never fear though if you don't have 8 friends always at the ready, because 13AM Games was kind enough to include online multiplayer as an alternative. And good golly Miss Molly, am I thankful for that, because you know of the bountiful number of friends I always have coming over. Multiplayer is separated into 4 different modes: Run, Arena, King of the Hill, and the local only mode, Color Master. Run has you simply racing to be the first one to reach the trophy at the end of each level. Arena tasks you with being the last man standing by pushing one another off stages or into hazards. King of the Hill is just what you would expect out of a mode with such a name. Stand in a specific zone long enough until time runs out to come off as victor. And finally, we have Color Master, which offers asymmetric gameplay courtesy of the Wii U gamepad. Up to 8 players will race against the mischievous 9th player wielding the gamepad who can control obstacles and the colors. Honestly, the online multiplayer was joyous in my time playing it. I haven't laughed continuously while playing a game in a long while outside of playing Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, but Runbow was able to do it for me. This laughter and joy was heightened due to the fact that I was playing with a friend online, but it does give a testament to how much enjoyment you will have playing it. Each round ends in a matter of seconds, but so much happens within that time span, with you punching the lights out of each other to gain the lead, platforms quickly phasing in and out, and random power-ups changing the tide of battle. I was only playing 2-player matches and it was already insane, so with a full roster of 9 players going at it, it's going to be balls to the wall crazy. The online multiplayer will probably get old after a few hours though, as I don't feel there is much incentive playing it outside of a few achievements to unlock. You'll probably not be coming back to it again and again, unless you're playing with people you know. There is also the issue of lag. Again, I was only playing 2-player matches online, but even then I still experienced latency issues, especially when picking up certain power-ups. I can only imagine how much of a nightmare it might be if 9 players with 9 different internet connections start up a match. All 6 modes in Runbow can be played with friends, although only 3 can actually be played online: Run, King of the Hill, and Arena. 2 of the 6 modes are single-player friendly though, with those being Adventure and Behemoth, with a W. The game's called Runbow, so they spelled Behemoth with a W.
It's so clever.
Both Adventure and Behemoth are a total blast, and this was where the bulk of my playtime was spent. There's quite a bit of content to be found here. Adventure mode comes with its own storyline and offers over 100 challenging stages to complete, with the objectives consisting of reaching the trophy at the end of a stage, defeating a certain number of enemies, or collecting coins as fast as possible. At times, they throw in a few interesting ideas to mix things up, like playing upside down, running super fast, or playing underwater, which makes jumping more floaty. These are really great ideas and they are executed well, but unfortunately, these types of scenarios are few and far between. With a huge assortment of levels offered here, I would have loved to see more stages with unique twists to the gameplay to keep the player invested. Sure, the color-changing gameplay is the big draw here, but you will want to see more concepts brought to the table as time goes on. Plus, the variety of enemies is seriously lacking here, with there only being a handful of different creatures impeding your progress, and their designs are not exactly the greatest. Adventure mode does also come packed with a handful of boss fights, but this is probably one of the weakest aspects of the game. The bosses don't feel like bosses. Matter of fact, they are essentially just normal stages with a person standing at the end that you need to punch once. Boom, that's it. They really could have done more to flesh out these boss levels to make them feel more intense. If anything, they could have made the courses drastically longer than the myriads of other stages in the game, but that just doesn't happen here. The only time I saw them step their game up was with the final boss, but still, it's definitely a low point for Runbow. Behemoth mode is for those really seeking to test their skill, as it pushes the player to race through over 30 minutes of platforming challenges without taking a single break. Yes, you can't save and return at a later time to finish it. It's either go big or go home. And Behemoth will have the color changing mechanic in full force as it throws some devilish obstacles at you. It will test your patience, but oh man is Behemoth delightfully painful. As a gamer who loves brutal platforming, Behemoth certainly scratched that itch for me. One thing you'll notice when you see Runbow for the first time is that it's not shy in its use of colors. With the background constantly changing, it keeps the visual appeal very much alive while playing. 13am Games also went with a more simplistic approach to the art style that still makes it look beautiful and unique compared to the other offerings on the eShop. Not everything is all hunky-dory though, because Runbow most definitely suffers from a stuttering frame rate that can be detrimental when trying to nail jumps. I know because I fell to my death due to the frame rate. I'm not exactly sure what causes it, but bouncing off enemies seems to be one thing that triggers the lag spike. Hopefully 13am Games can issue a patch that will fix this dilemma, as it can be downright annoying when you're having a great run but mess up because of a hiccup in the frame rate. The soundtrack on the other hand is sublime. It's insanely good, mixing together a variety of different musical genres from jazz, bossa nova, and even surf rock. The upbeat nature of the music meshes perfectly with the style of gameplay, and I found myself really becoming attached to the soundtrack. I also found it quite humorous how when you pause the game, the music makes a complete 180 and turns into glorious elevator music. It's delightfully soothing. In terms of replay value, Runbow certainly has enough for you to do to keep you busy for a dozen hours or so. First and foremost, 3-starring each and every stage in adventure mode will probably take up the bulk of your playtime. Beyond that, there are dozens of achievements to complete, concept art to unlock, and best of all, new costumes and other well-known indie characters to discover. Shovel Knight from Shovel Knight, Max from Mutant Muds, Gunvault from Azure Striker Gunvault, and many more make a guest appearance here with signature sound effects to go along with them, making it a nice little treat. Runbow is a Wii U eShop game that is worth taking a closer look at. It might not be the greatest game on the system and introduce too many ideas outside of the unique color changing mechanic, but I can't say that I didn't have fun playing it. Messing around with friends in a handful of multiplayer modes will no doubt bring a smile to your face, but I can't see myself dwelling for too long online as there isn't much incentive for doing so. Those itching for a more single player experience will no doubt have a grand time playing through the plethora of challenges in adventure mode, or the fiendish obstacles in behemoth mode, as those were definitely the highlight of the game for me. Yes, Runbow is not a perfect game, with its poor excuse for boss fights, stuttering frame rate, and a lack of unique ideas to mix things up in adventure mode, but that won't stop you from having an enjoyable time. So, in all, I think Runbow is a good game, and that will bring us to the end of this review. If you like what you saw, please give this video a thumbs up and add your favorites and all that good stuff, and you can stay tuned for more videos in the future. But I will talk to you later in the next video, guys. Bye!